A storm slammed into the English coast. Whitby, August 6, 1897. 3 men boarded the wreck of the Demeter. No crew, just a soaked logbook. The last words written, "If it finds you, God help you. We tried to stop him. If we failed, may God have mercy on your souls." Then black. 4 weeks earlier. The harbor at Varna bustled with carts and crates. Hooves pounded against muddy stone as merchants yelled, sailors shouted, and gulls circled overhead. Among the ships stood a dark, broad vessel with peeling paint on its bow. Demeter. On the crowded dock, an older man stepped out of a shop with his grandson. "Don't wander far, Toby. We're not staying long." "I won't, Grandpa, I promise." Toby said. Nearby sailor rushed into a smoky tavern, 3 hands short, bound for London. Pays in gold. Cards hit tables. Heads turned. Then came a louder voice from the docks. "Open your ears, men. Need 3 able-bodied seamen for London." Among the crowd, a quiet man stood out. Well-groomed, calm, observant. "Clemens." The recruiter paused. "You dress like an educated man. Where did you study?" "Cambridge," Clemens replied. "I've a steady hand with a needle. If you need a ship doctor, I'm ready." From the shadows, Wojciech grunted. "Books won't save you at sea. We need a strong crew, not passengers." He turned to the others, pointing. You, and you. You're in." And yet fate didn't wait. The loading began. Ropes strained as massive crates were hauled aboard. One man froze. His hands slipped. His eyes locked onto a burned-in symbol. A coiled dragon. The crate swayed. Below it stood Toby. Clemens moved fast. He tackled the boy just before the cargo slammed down. Gasps. Silence. Then a shout. "You never said nothing about dragons," the sailor barked. "That mark, it's the devil's serpent. Keep your gold. God save you all." He walked off, crossing himself. Toby's grandfather asked if he was okay. The boy nodded, wide-eyed. Clemens and Wojciech locked eyes. "We leave port within the hour," Wojciech said coldly. "If you lied about knowing your way around a ship, I'll throw you off myself." "Thank you, sir," Clemens replied. As the Demeter pulled away from the coast, the man who'd seen the symbol stood on the cliffs above, watching, whispering a prayer. On board, Toby gave Clemens a tour, showed him the galley, the bunks, introduced him to his dog, Huckleberry. The pup barked and wagged its tail as the sun dipped into the water. Below deck, the captain scribbled in his journal. July 6th, cargo secured. Turkish cotton, 10 barrels of petroleum. Private crates marked for London. Crew of 9. 5 hands, 2 mates, 1 cook, and myself, plus a doctor. That night, the crew laughed over drinks, music, singing, poker games. Captain Elliot sat beside Wojciech, watching it all. "This is my last voyage," Elliot said. "Gonna buy a little cottage in Ireland. Toby will love it. I made a promise to my daughter. You'll take the Demeter after me." Wojciech said nothing. He remained still, unsure how to respond. Later that night, the rats moved first, squeaking in the corners, hiding in the walls, then gone. From one of the private crates came a subtle creak. The wood bent slightly, just once. Above deck, no one noticed. They were busy dreaming of gold, talking about how they'd spend their pay. £75 each, one said. "I'll open a tavern. Get me off the sea for good." Someone asked Clemens what he'd do with his bonus. As he was answering, Huck barked, loud, panicked. The livestock below began to screech. Hooves thumped. Chains clanged. Clemens and Toby hurried below. In the shadows, something twitched. A canvas sack lay in the corner, soaked in mud. It moved. Clemens pulled it open. Inside, a woman, pale, barely breathing. She didn't speak, just lay still, eyes fluttering. "She needs a transfusion," Clemens said. "Fast." Wojciech frowned. "She could be sick. She brought something on board. She needs blood, or she'll die." The woman began to shake, grunting. Her body flashed with something deeper, a memory, a trauma buried beneath silence. "If she wakes," Wojciech said coldly, "we toss her to the waves." "I didn't save her just to watch you end her." "Then forfeit your bonus," Wojciech snapped. Captain Elliot stepped forward. "Enough. I won't let my final voyage be marred by the death of a young woman. We'll repurpose the carpenter's shed as her quarters. Clemens nodded. Thank you. He helped carry the woman into her new room. She never said a word, just breathed. Outside, a sailor leaned on the railing. You're making friends, Clemens. Woman on board. Bad omen. Clemens didn't answer. Then Olgarin stopped. His voice faded. His eyes locked on the sails. Something moved. A shape clung to the rigging. Watching. Still. They both saw it now. Dracula. Pale as bone, with sunken eyes and fangs like blades. He loomed above, silent as the night. Then he vanished into the dark. The wind picked up, and the Demeter sailed on. By morning, something was wrong, and whatever they saw that night was only the beginning. Below deck, the air had changed. Joseph moved through the shadows with a lantern, his boots echoing across the floorboards. In the animal pens, silence, not a sound. No scuffling, no breathing. The livestock were all dead, bodies twisted, drained. The cages were torn apart, deep wounds but no sign of what caused them. The crew gathered in silence, dread hanging heavy. Petrovsky pointed to the girl, said she brought it with her. But Clemens knew the truth. She hadn't even stood. This wasn't new. It didn't arrive. It had been here, hidden in shadow. Something ancient, something dark. And now it has begun to feed. He suggested rabies, a failed theory, a lie he barely believed himself. Elliot ordered they make a port if it was a disease. The crew pushed back. If they docked, they'd lose their bonus. Months of work gone in a single night. No one wanted to die poor. Petrovsky finally spoke up. Not about sickness, not about rats, about evil. And then he pointed, not at the girl, but at Clemens. That dark savage pretending to be a doctor, Petrovsky muttered. The tension broke. Clemens stepped forward, voice sharp. Say it again! Abrams flashed his blade without a word. Enough, Olgarin said, stepping in. No man did this. There's evil on board, real evil. Later, the crew began tossing the animal carcasses into the sea. Mr. Clemens went over and consoled Toby. The boy's voice trembled. I promised the captain I'd look after the animals, the boy whispered. Clemens placed a hand on his shoulder. Sometimes, no matter what we promise, things go wrong. Toby nodded. The boy was trying to stay brave, but below deck, something was stirring again. That night, Clemens helped Olgarin with a winch repair. The sailor looked tired. Olgarin said nothing at first. But then, there's something unnatural on this ship, he said. Clemens said he didn't believe in all of this. Olgarin looked him in the eye. I saw your face last night. You saw it too. Captain Elliot's log was brief. Bad weather. Morale low. Supplies running thin. The girl hadn't spoken. They'd passed Cape Mataram. 2 weeks left to reach port. But something else was on board, and now they could feel it. Toby had learned the girl's name. Anna. She was awake now, but barely. Her voice trembled. Her dreams were broken. She kept repeating one word. Feed. Clemens began pacing the ship at night. He ran into Joseph, who was muttering about the rats. All gone. Not a single one left. As if something had driven them off. Then a noise. A heavy thump in the hold. Petrovsky went to check the noise alone. Darkness swallowed his footsteps. He heard something move. A shape, barely visible, crept through the shadows. Petrovsky pulled his knife. Where the hell did you come from? That's when it struck. Claws tore into his neck. Blood sprayed across the deck. He gasped, reaching for the blade, but the Dracula wasn't done. It didn't just kill, it drained him. By the time Clemens arrived, all that was left was blood and the knife. Clemens rang the bell. The deck flooded with men, but the body was still. Morning brought more questions. Elliot stood by the wheel, watching the sea. He didn't believe Petrovsky slipped. Neither did Clemens. Wojciech did, or pretended to. Clemens was found holding the bloody knife. Accusations flew. Clemens didn't flinch. If I killed him, why would I sound the alarm? No one had an answer. In the shadows of the deck, Anna stood upright for the first time. She came with a warning. He's here. We have to get off this boat now. All of us. The words chilled the room. Everyone turned. Her voice was clearer now, more urgent. We have to get off this boat. Elliot paused. Wojciech didn't. "We're done discussing this," he said. Clemens found Anna later, sat beside her, asked her to explain. She spoke of a castle in the mountains, an evil older than anything she'd ever known, a thing that wore the skin of a man but was not a man, a creature that fed in darkness and ruled her village through fear. Dracula. She showed him the wounds. "He brought me here to feed." A storm rolled in that night. Below deck, Larson moved quickly. Rain had knocked the lanterns out again. He lit a match. Shadows flickered. A knock echoed, then another. He paused. "Olgarin?" he called. No answer. Footsteps approached. Olgarin stepped in. "What's wrong? I heard your knock." "My knock?" Larson frowned. Neither of them had knocked. Then the sound came again. Harder. Closer. They drew their knives. Olgarin stepped forward. Larson stayed behind, still by the light, when it dropped from above. Dracula. He slammed Larson's head to the floor again and again. Blood poured. Olgarin froze. Dracula looked at him and smiled. "Please, no!" Olgarin shouted, backing up. He ran, climbing the ropes. The monster followed, repeating after him. "Please, no!" Above deck, chaos. Objects crashed, sails tore. The storm hit hard. Wojciech yelled, "Where's Larson?" He was the one steering. Adam ran below. Voices echoed, "Larson! Larson!" But no answer came. Clemens spotted blood dripping onto Toby's coat. He looked up. Olgarin, bound to the mast, barely alive, eyes wide with terror. Elliot returned to his log. His writing is now ragged, fear creeping into the margins. July 24th. Another gone, one wounded. Fear has taken root. We are days from England, but it feels like the edge of the world. Clemens examined Olgarin's neck. The same wounds, the same silence. Not asleep, not awake, as if trapped in something darker than dreams. Wojciech asked what he believed now. Clemens didn't answer. He only said one thing. "It's real." Elliot ordered a full search. Armed men, 2 per watch, no exceptions. "Search the ship," he ordered. "Not just the hold, everywhere." Boots echoed on wooden decks. Rifles kill loaded. The crew moved fast, tension rising with every creak of the ship. Then, silence. Olgarin had been tied up, contained, his body shaking, eyes shut. He screamed that something was inside him, that it burned. Then, his eyes snapped open, pure white, hollow. He wasn't there anymore. Elsewhere, young Toby heard the faint creak of a door. He turned. "Hello?" he whispered, stepping closer to the corridor. A shadow emerged. It was Olgarin, standing upright, calm. "You're awake," Toby said, nervous. Olgarin didn't speak. He walked toward Toby in slow, stiff steps, his eyes white as fog. Then his hand landed on the boy's shoulder. Toby's breath caught. His whole body froze. He screamed. Olgarin grabbed him by the collar. Toby fought back, broke loose, ran, slammed the door, locked it. Behind the woods, something breathed. Heavy, animal, wrong. Toby grabbed a blade, his hands shaking. Bang! Olgarin slammed his head into the door. Again and again. Blood smeared, wood cracked. From outside, Joseph heard it. "Do you hear that?" Clemens grabbed a rifle. The crew ran. Toby crawled under the table, clutching his cross, whispering prayers. Just a boy, just a kid. Outside the door, silence. Then, Olgarin was gone. Clemens spotted him down the hall, his face torn, covered in blood. "Help!" Clemens shouted as Olgarin lunged. Wojciech tackled him. The 2 men wrestled. Olgarin groaned like something wasn't human anymore, like something was rotting from the inside. Captain Elliot reached Toby's door. "Toby, open up!" Inside, something stood near the table. Not Olgarin, not a man, a monster. Dracula. He turned toward the boy, eyes burning, teeth bared. Outside, the men screamed, banged on the door. The creature reached down. Dracula. He was already on the boy. Fangs sunk deep. Blood spilled fast. Anna fired. The door swung open. They stormed in. Elliot dropped beside him, He saw the bite on Toby's neck, skin pale. Olgarin still howled in the background. Captain Elliot stared down at the boy. "Clemens," he said, "save him." Clemens didn't waste a second. He started the transfusion. But nothing could stop what was coming next. Olgarin's body convulsed, tied up again. His voice was wild. "I can hear it. The sea, the blood. It burns." "Burns?" Clemens asked. Smoke rose from Olgarin's skin. He screamed again. "It burns!" Flames wrapped around him. The rope split apart. And then there was nothing left but fire. The crew stared at the ashes. Dracula had already taken lives, and the ship was still 2 weeks from land. The silence after was deeper than death. Joseph recoiled in fear, whispered about curses and sin, said the boy would rise next, with Satan's blood already coursing through his veins. Clemens stepped in. "The boy has the same symptoms. We have to consider..." Wojciech shoved a pistol into his hands. "Then do it." Clemens said that's not what he meant. He just wanted to figure out a way to save Toby. Later, Anna found Clemens. She didn't have to ask. She knew where he was going. To the crates. "If we find where it sleeps," he said, "we might find a way to end this." She didn't answer, but she followed him below deck. They searched crate by crate, stepping through dust and rot, until they found it. A single crate, the one marked with the coiled dragon. Anna ran her fingers across the lid. "This one's different." They pried it open, soil, worms, and buried deep inside a wooden stake. "This is where the devil sleeps." Up above, Adam lit a cigarette, watching the waves. He never saw Joseph coming. The rifle struck him in the back. And as Joseph rowed away in the only lifeboat, whispering prayers to a God who had stopped listening, the true horror was only just beginning. Joseph never made it far. As he rode through the fog, he whispered scripture to himself, rocking gently in the lifeboat. Then a voice began echoing his own words back at him. Low, mocking. Dracula was already there. No one heard him die. Back on the Demeter, a bell rang out. Wojciech's voice tore through the silence. "The lifeboat, it's gone!" They ran to the rails. It was out there, drifting, empty, except for the blood mark, dark and fresh. Dracula had taken another life. Clemens and the others wrapped Toby's body in canvas. The captain said nothing, just stared at the sea. They laid the boy's body on the rail. Anna stood beside them. "This world is cruel," she said softly. "May the next one be kinder." But as they prepared to release him, Elliot stepped forward. "Wait!" The boy moved. Toby's eyes opened. Clemens rushed forward, but it was no miracle. The boy had no breath, no pulse. His body lay cold, still. Then his eyes snapped open, white and hollow. Fire burst from his fingers. The captain cried out as flames crawled up his arm. Clemens didn't wait. He grabbed the boy and dragged him to the edge and threw him into the sea. The fire vanished beneath the surface. And just like that, Toby was gone, claimed by the dark. That night, Clemens found Elliot alone. The captain sat still, the journal open in his hands, lips moving quietly. He said the voice still came to him, promising to bring Toby back, promising to undo what had already been done. Clemens told him they were abandoning ship, that the trap was set, but Elliot wasn't listening. He loaded his gun, whispering that he just needed to get the Demeter to shore. Then the boy could return. He raised the pistol toward Clemens. Anna stepped into the room, calm, steady. Her presence cut through the silence like a blade. She didn't plead. She spoke of what Dracula had done, the darkness, the box, the way he tore into her, again and again. Not just her body, but her mind, her soul, how he took everything good and turned it into something foul, something hollow. She looked at Elliot, not with anger, but with truth. He wouldn't want that. Not Toby, not more pain, not to be brought back into something worse. She held out the boy's cross. Elliot stared at it, then at her, and slowly he let go of the gun. He clutched the cross instead, eyes trembling. He said he would sail the ship into open waters, far from the coast, far from the world Toby once knew. He would make sure the devil never reached land. Clemens told him he didn't have to stay. The captain only looked up and said, Where would I go? Because the Demeter was all he had left. His ship, his boy, his burden, and now his final duty. That night they set the trap. Barricades at every corridor. One road is open, a straight shot to the hull. When he came for Anna, they'd have him in the crosshairs. Clemens pulled her aside. You don't have to be the bait. Anna didn't blink. We're connected. I feel him. He'll come for me. And then the flapping began. Wings. The air shifted. The sound of something unnatural approaching fast. Adam was the first to go, pulled by the neck, slammed against the mast. The rifle slipped from his hands. Wojciech tried to cut him down, but Dracula hit like a hammer. Bones snapped. Blood sprayed. Clemens screamed his name. He ran, gun in hand, but Dracula was already inside. He moved like the wind through the corridors. Wojciech stood no chance. Wojciech grabbed a tool, trying to punch through the hull, hoping to flood the ship, sink it. He was too late. He caught him mid-strike, sank his teeth in, and dropped him to the floor like nothing. Wojciech! Clemens yelled, but the body didn't move. He sprinted across the deck, searching through shadows. Captain! Anna! Elliot was at the ropes, tying them fast, eyes fixed down. Then he felt it. A presence behind him. He turned slowly. Dracula was waiting, still, silent, watching. His wings spread. His eyes were burning. Elliot raised the cross. I renounce you, devil. But it wasn't enough. Dracula grabbed him by the throat, sank his teeth in. Clemens watched the captain's body go limp. I'll tell them, Captain, that you stayed true. Elliot took his last breath. Clemens looked up and said, you want them to believe you're God, but you breathe, you feed, you sleep in dirt, you're afraid just like the rest of us. And there he was, Dracula, towering above, wings spread wide, screeching. It attacked him. Clemens was thrown across the deck, but a gunshot rang out. Anna, she stood at the helm, rifle in hand. You're in my head, in my blood. You damn me to hell. Dracula turned on her. He struck her hard, throwing her down. Clemens grabbed an axe, drove it deep into the creature's back. Dracula screamed and flung him away. Anna went for the rope. She cut it free. A heavy beam crashed down, slamming into Dracula. She shouted, Die, devil! She and Clemens jumped from the ship. From a nearby vessel, a sailor raised his spyglass. The Demeter, he said, she's heading for the breakers. No one could explain how. The ship reached the coast, and deep inside, Dracula was still alive. Clemens and Anna washed ashore just before dawn. The wind was cold. The waves are steady. It's too late, she whispered. Number another transfusion. I can save you. I've known for days, she smiled faintly. My people choose for me. The devil chose for me. Let me choose this. She took his hand. You saved me. Then she went away. The fire took her quickly. No screams, no fear, only peace. Clemens staggered into London. He unfolded a paper. He knew where the demon would go. Carfax Abbey. A woman asked if he was the new owner. He said nothing. Later, alone, he sketched Anna's face in a notebook. I've seen what hides beneath the world, evil that science can't explain. Yet I've also seen its beauty and those willing to give it all to protect it. A knock behind him. Clemens turned. Someone stepped in, holding the same carved stick he saw in Dracula's coffin. He felt it, a cold touch at his back. And at that moment, he made a vow. He would hunt the foul beast and send it to hell, and he walked straight toward it. Up ahead, a figure stood still, its back turned. Dracula was waiting.